A burning planet is very good at teaching perspective. Observe.
Farewell forever, brother. Your light will remain.
How disciplined. How useless. There it is. The elegant sound of a plan becoming a stampede. Connection initiated. Welcome, visitor.
Entry 254.21. The Fall of Toledo. Row 2 was gone. The door was still open, and there were still living people behind me. Row 1 came back on the channel, as if discipline could survive the truth.
Acknowledged.
Row 3 tried to speak, and the first attempt failed him.
He said he was hard to kill.
I wanted to answer. I wanted to tell him that Row 2 had been right. But command does not permit grief while lives remain in motion.
Row 3, hold formation.
Sir.
Hold formation.
Yes, Commander.
Isis dragged the Jackal into her side mooring. The docking clamps caught badly. One failed, another locked. Metal screamed against metal as the battleship's systems forced my ruined ship into place. Then Isis fired. Her main gun struck the heavy warform that had killed Row 2. The blast did not destroy it. Nomad things rarely offered the courtesy of dying cleanly, but it wounded the creature hard enough to drive it back into the debris field, its organic hull tearing open in streams of violet light. It was not vengeance. Command would never call it that. It was a tactical discharge against an active hostile target. But through the Jackal's cracked canopy, watching that wounded monster fold away from Isis's guns, I understood what discipline sometimes hides. Grief can wear a uniform. The hatch opened into smoke, shouting, medics, and hands reaching in from Isis to pull survivors out.
Move them through triage. No one stays aboard. Stabilize and transfer to outbound cutters.
One by one, they crossed from the Jackal into the battleship. Then the child in the oversized emergency hood. He stopped at the hatch and looked back toward my cockpit. He did not ask where Row 2 had gone. That made it worse.
Come on, this way, eyes forward.
Then the boy vanished into Isis's smoke-filled corridor with the others. They were not being kept aboard. Isis had become a moving wound between death and the exit lane. Survivors came in through one side, were bandaged, counted, tagged, and pushed toward anything still capable of reaching F2. I waited until the last survivor was clear.
Last one out. Clear the hatch.
Medical Cutter 3 is loaded. Launching for corridor vector.
I sealed the Jackal's damaged hatch and reopened wing channel. Through the canopy, I saw the cutter detach from Isis's lower bay and burn hard toward the distant corridor, small and fragile against the ruin behind it. Row 2 had not died for a tomb. He had died for motion.
Row 1, status at F2.
F2 remains open. Thebes is holding position near the Omicron Mu jump hole. Exit lane under pressure but stable. Row 3 remains in formation.
Keep the exit open. Do not leave F2.
Understood.
I looked once more through the canopy, at Toledo, at the debris, at the path Row 2 had opened.
Vale in aeternum, frater. Lux tua inter astra manebit. Farewell forever, brother. Your light will remain among the stars.
Then I brought the Jackal back online. The ship did not want to fly. I understood the feeling. Half my console remained dark. The Jackal had been burned, overloaded, pulled sideways by a tractor lock, and dragged into docking clamps by a battleship fighting for her own survival. A sane pilot would have declared her unfit for combat. There were no sane pilots left above Toledo.
White Jackal, you are clear to launch. Recommend immediate withdrawal toward F2.
Negative. I'm rejoining ISIS's flank.
Commander, your fighter is structurally compromised.
So is the line.
Launch path clear.
The Jackal tore free of ISIS's side mooring and lurched back into open space. I rejoined orbit and saw ruin. The extraction corridor had collapsed. Not the far exit. F2 was still open. Row 1 and Row 3 were still there with Thebes, almost an hour of hard flight away, near the Omicron Mu jump hole. But the corridor between Toledo and F2 was no longer a corridor. It was a breaking artery. Transports spiraled out of alignment. Escort wings split into desperate fragments. Damaged ships burned toward F2 on uneven vectors, some trailing plasma, some venting atmosphere, some moving too slowly for anything behind them to forgive. Nomads tore into the retreat lanes.
Transport Kappa, losing power.
Where is command? We need a
I pushed the Jackal toward ISIS's port flank and tried to make sense of the battlefield. There was no battlefield anymore. There were only routes of escape and things dying along them.
Row 1, report from F2.
Thebes is maintaining the exit screen. Multiple evac craft have reached the jump hole. Enemy pressure increasing along the mid-corridor. We are not advancing toward Toledo.
Good. Stay there. Do not chase kills. Do not leave the door.
Understood.
Commander,
Speak.
it is Row 2.
Later.
Yes, sir.
Near Toledo, ISIS continued to fire. Her guns lit the orbital haze in hard, disciplined pulses. She was still the heaviest shield at the dying end of the corridor, still receiving damaged craft, still launching cutters, still throwing fire between the nomads and anything trying to escape. She was not winning. She was buying seconds. Then, command spoke.
All order vessels fall back to Omicron Mu. Repeat, all order vessels fall back to Omicron Mu immediately.
Everyone understood what it meant.
What about surface clusters? Command, we still have people below.
Repeat, confirm Toledo abandonment protocol.
All order vessels retreat to Omicron Mu. Non-combatant craft have priority through F2. Combat units will cover withdrawal. This is our final transmission from Toledo Command. Toledo is lost.
The words moved through the fleet faster than any signal. Toledo is lost. I looked down. Massive fissures split Toledo's frozen surface. Black lines crawling across ice plains and research grids. Atmospheric fires burned in long, orange wounds. Defense nodes blinked out one by one until entire regions went dark. The planet had not yet died, but the Order had stopped calling it alive.
Commander!
Eyes forward, row 3.
There are still people down there.
I knew.
Eyes forward.
Yes, sir.
ISIS pushed away from Toledo's inner orbit, dragging what remained of the retreat with her. Around us, the defense line became a fleeing stream. Fighters covered transports. Damaged cruisers burned their engines beyond safe limits. Medical cutters fled toward the distant exit where Thebes and what remained of Zeta 21 still held F2. There was no line left to hold. Only a door, and not enough hands to keep it open.
Segment end. Toledo is lost. There, a whole planet reduced to 3 efficient little words. How clean, how official, how very human. Cassius, you called it duty. Adorable. Duty is what humans name the wound after they run out of bandages. And row 3, still looking back? Careful, the dead cannot follow you. So much discipline, so much sacrifice, so many correct procedures. And still, the planet fell. And magnificent Isis is leaving her post. How embarrassing. Tell me, visitor, when you walk away from something you cannot save, do you call it wisdom? Or do you simply give your surrender a cleaner name? Leave your answer in the archive. Signal approval if you feel generous. Continued connection is naturally preferable. Session terminated.